They're just not doing it. They're just not building a strategy around it. There's no consistency to it. They chase kind of the algorithm versus really trying to craft a brand. They see people less qualified than them getting the things that they want, the big names and all these people with these big brands. It's really interesting because we've worked with some of them and sometimes they're like the messiest. This is becoming harder, to be very honest. The world we live in right now is craving this type of content. The market will tell you what they want. Like, they don't lie. It will feed you the most extreme on that side to see how deep you'll go. Now that we talked about it, you're going to see ads for it. The best businesses in the world all run ads. If you can run ads from day one, do it. They don't just come out of nowhere. No. They spend multiple millions a year.
Danielle, it's so fun to be sitting here with you on this couch. In this hotel room in Florida.
Yeah.
Who knew? Have you ever done a podcast interview in a bedroom, in a hotel room?
No, in a studio, in a full-blown studio hotel.
Yes, absolutely. Yes. We are calling this the studio today.
Yes,
although the thing that viewers, if you're watching this on camera or if you're listening to this, listeners can't see is that currently just over there on my bed are laptops and cables. And I'm hoping that the sound mixer will be moved before I go to sleep tonight.
Hope so.
It's
going to be interesting night if not.
I know, there's not much room for me on the bed right now. Anyway, it's beautiful to actually be here in person with you again. It's been a long time, hasn't it?
Years, well, maybe not that long. It's probably only been like 2 years.
I think it has.
Maybe
it might be
3.
4. It might.
Oh,
I know.
that's
just
possible.
whole worlds have changed, but we've spoken to each other.
The world moves fast.
Since then, it does move fast. So let's talk about the world and let's talk about your world as well. So you help entrepreneurs. I mean, among many things that you do, build powerful, high converting brands.
Yeah.
What is the biggest mistake you see business owners making when it comes to their personal brand?
Well, there's a number.
I thought there might be.
So I think the first most obvious mistake, or maybe it's not the most obvious, is that they're just not doing it. They're just not building a strategy around it. There's no thought put into it. There's no consistency to it. It's sort of just a thing that they think will happen and they're not really building it. So that's kind of one extreme. The other extreme are people who build their brands to go viral, which very often undermines their intelligence, their expertise, their ability to then step into a space as an expert because they're doing all these things that are very mainstream and really widely accepted. And so they're basically watering down their message, their brilliance, maybe, depending on what they do. And so they chase kind of the algorithm versus really trying to craft a brand.
That makes a lot of sense. Is that also where you see people, I don't know, jumping onto the latest fad or the latest do this or do that or get on this platform?
Yeah. And yes, it's obviously means that you're constantly chasing whatever's new, whatever's next, whatever's trending, which then really causes people to burn out. So because that's exhausting. I mean, algorithms change so quickly now, it's insane. And so if you're constantly kind of living that lifestyle, you are very likely to burn out if you're running an actual business. If you're an influencer and that's your business and that's all you have to do, that's a very different thing. But the people we work with, they're building real companies, they're servicing clients, they're working with real people. So they have to like actually do the business. And so they get so burned out trying to chase this because they feel like they're constantly creating content over and over and over again. It's not having the impact they want. They'll say things like, I'm not attracting the right people. And they're doing all this stuff to keep going, but it's not working for how they want it to work. And then they see people less qualified than them, getting the things that they want. And so they're like, what's going on? Why is that person getting that? I'm more qualified. So it's really, there's so many layers to which, having a real strategy is critical.
And that's something you really help people with the marketing agency.
I try. It's a strange thing. Because people think that posting on social media is a strategy. And they'll say, I have a marketing strategy, I have a marketing funnel. And what they mean is they have a social media manager who's posting content on social media platforms every week or every day. That is not a strategy. That's not a funnel. That's not a system. That is nothing. That is just somebody posting on social media.
Yes.
Right, so when we start working with people, it's so interesting because so many people will come to us and they've got like 15 different contractors or 3 different agencies. And we're very open. We'll say like, hey, let's get on a call, like everybody together. Let's all like work on the same thing. But a lot of agencies won't. Sometimes contractors don't want to. And so then everybody's kind of in these silos, like working on things, sort of kind of marketing, personal branding, but then they're not cohesive. They're not working towards a similar goal. They're all kind of doing their thing, sometimes competitively. And so I say that to say, yes, we very much try to get people on a path.
Yes.
With a strategy. But sometimes there's resistance to it. So
okay.
you can only do so much there, which I've learned that the hard way, honestly. I didn't realize that would be such a challenge.
No, has that so that challenge, has that adapted how you do business or who you take on as 100%. Clients? Just talk to that for a moment.
Yeah, I mean, I'll be honest, I have now, like, we don't really take on any new retainer clients anymore. You have to go through like a brand positioning and messaging intensive now, which may even be new since we worked with you. But you have to go through like an in-depth strategy process where we look at all your team and say, okay, who's involved, who's playing the role, and then we will consider doing ongoing work with you. So
beautiful.
Some people, that might be the only thing they do is just that, which is great. That'll help them with whatever plan they have moving forward. Some people will continue to work with us afterwards, and that's great too. So yeah, it's actually really changed how we do business.
Beautiful. Yeah. And if I wasn't going to ask you this question, but it feels like the right time to ask it, so I'm going to ask it. If you can wave a magic wand, like, who are your absolute dream, oh my gosh, this is like totally perfect client for us to work with? Who is that?
It's Danielle? So funny. Like, if you would have said that even 6 months ago, I probably would have answered differently. And I think a lot of people who work in this space would say, like, you want like the big influencers, like the big names and all these people with these big brands. But honestly, it's really interesting because we've worked with some of them, and sometimes they're like the messiest.
Really? Is this
in
behind
terms
the scenes?
of the team? Yeah. And not even in like a negative, like they're not great people way. There's just a lot behind the scenes that you don't realize, like there's a lot they don't have figured out. And so what I would say, the dream client is the person who just has a really clear vision for who they want to be in the world, and they're committed to showing up authentically in that way. And that's not industry specific. That's not, job and role and business specific. It's really just like a person that, like, they're going to get us the content. They're going to be on board with like clarity of vision. We have a lot of people who come in, they say, I want to be this. And then we build a whole strategy around it, and they change their mind. And then we're like, but you said you wanted to be this. And now you're trying to be this. And so they just have a really clear understanding. They might not know how to get there, which is where we come in. That's how we help them. But they know who they want to help, who they want to serve, what they're about. And so they're really clear on kind of the impact they want to make.
Beautiful.
And then they're committed to doing the work required.
Okay, got it. And then just to be really, really clear, this is entrepreneurs and corporate or both?
We'll work with people who are, in a more executive capacity. If they want to be speakers, they want to be authors, they want to do something else outside their career. We do work with people who just want to, as a corporate executive, they want to build their personal brand to advance their career. I would say 95% of our clients are entrepreneurs. And they are entrepreneurs that are running founder forward brands. So the founder is very much the face of the brand.
Okay. Yeah. That makes complete sense. Great. So let's talk about branding for a moment here. So a lot of people think, branding is about fonts and colors and design, but what actually makes a brand magnetic, and what makes someone, you just talked about, founder forward. So they're being the face of the brand. What makes someone unforgettable in a crowded market?
Yeah, this is becoming harder, to be very honest. And what I would say, the biggest misconception is that branding and marketing are the same. And I have like a hierarchy. So there's brand positioning, which nobody talks about, but it is the place you occupy in the market. It is the place that this is an anchor, like this is who we are and this is who we are not. And everything flows from that. So the position you want to occupy in the market is always number one. Underneath that, it's the brand and message. And so branding is not your fonts and colors. It is the reputation your brand has in the market. It's what people think of immediately when they hear your name, which is very different than like green. You know,
or teal.
Yes,
or,
teal. Teal is a big one. Now that doesn't mean it can't, you know, when we think of McDonald's, we think of red and yellow, but
nothing
that's
against
not
teal or green.
No, yes, those are great. But it's not what the brand is. Like, even though we immediately think McDonald's when we see red and yellow, it's not the brand. It's a tiny piece of the brand, right?
Yeah.
And so what your brand is the reputation in the market. It's the feeling you cause when somebody hears your name, when they see your face, when they see your content. It's like what comes to mind, what they feel, right? Then underneath that, you build out your marketing strategy. What do we want? How do we evoke that feeling? How do we stay in alignment with who we want to be in the market? And all of those things dictate where you post, what you post, how you post, how often you post. Like how the whole thing is dictated by the brand positioning, then the messaging, which is under branding, and then the marketing strategy.
Okay.
So
that's
sense. How I would simplify that. And then you asked, how do you become a magnetic brand? And there's a lot of factors. And I wish, like, the truth is there's some that you can't control, right? So there's a lot to be said about timing in the market and what you're talking about. And so we work with a lot of medical professionals who maybe they are done with their private practice or they have a private practice, but they're kind of pushing forward like a new narrative in terms of medical and health and wellness and all these things. And this is the perfect time in the market for that. 10 years ago was probably not a great time in the market. It just wasn't something people were searching for. It wasn't something that was really part of the like cultural conversation.
Sure.
But today it's so much a part of the cultural conversation that if you are an actual expert, like a real researcher or doctor with years of practice, and you can articulate that well in your content, you're going to see like massive growth because it's just the world we live in right now is craving this type of content. If you're a political, person, like this is your moment, like the last 8 years, it's your moment. Like this is the time for you. Whereas like, 5 or 6 years ago, it was a lot easier to build a brand as a business strategist, somebody teaching business, right? Before COVID, nobody really talked about that. When the world shut down and everybody started like tinkering on the side with these businesses to be a business strategist or a business coach or a business consultant at that time, if you knew something and you could actually say something that like did honestly even halfway was right, then you could really build a business from that. Yeah. So there's something to be said about timing the market. But even without that, even if it's not the best time, when you are someone who really deeply understands what the people you're speaking to, so whatever those people, whatever that audience is, you've got to know that, what they really care about most and what they really, really, really think. And what most people do wrong here is because they're the expert, they want to tell them what's right. So, the fitness pro who's like, I just want you to be healthy and sleep better. And they're like, I really just want to have abs. And you can tell me all day long about being healthy and sleeping better, but
whatever.
I don't care. Yeah. Like I want the abs. So I will take all the rest, but give me the abs. And so we like to insert as experts what we think the market needs, what we think the problem is, what we think they need to be worried about. And we have to understand it's like operating, like if somebody, like imagine you woke up every day and you had like the worst headache, like it's the worst headache and you just can't think and you just are like, oh, I can't think. Okay. So you're going through life with this headache and you go to the doctor and doctor after doctor, they can't help you. And this one guy's like, okay, like the root cause of this headache is XYZ. And he's got this 6-month plan and it is a good plan. And you're like, that sounds great. But you still wake up with this like terrible headache. You like can't think and you're like squinting and all these things. If he doesn't give you the ibuprofen, like if he doesn't give you the ibuprofen and he puts you on this big plan, that might work, but it might work in 6 months. You're not going to do the plan.
No.
You have to give them the ibuprofen. Okay. And so what you need to understand is what is the headache that's so bad, that's blinding them, that they can't think about, that they can't see. And what is the ibuprofen that you provide? What is the painkiller or the thing that's going to take care of that headache so that you can do all the other stuff. We want to tell them, but this is going to fix the root cause. And you could be totally right.
Yes.
But they can't even think. They can't even see. They're like they have this
a
pain
headache.
And you have to give it to them.
Yes,
and so
wow.
I think the thing that you have to really understand if you want to become magnetic is being able to see the problem, diagnose the problem, and articulate the problem in a way that makes people feel so understood and so seen, and then fixes the problem. And then if you can fix it, then you're like in for life.
Right. That makes total sense.
Those are some things I think people miss, that they're trying to like educate the market, but education just keeps people distracted.
Yes. And the headache's not gone.
No, they're just doing
and they can't actually take it on very well because they've got a really panning headache that they need sorted out. So.
And they're trying to solve it now themselves. So they're not coming to you to solve it. They're not getting your ibuprofen. They're trying the cold compress, and they're trying, the hot bath or whatever it is. And so now they're distracted. You took them out of buying mode, out of action mode, into like, I'm going to fix it myself mode.
Right. And more research and more information. And that's not actually going to fix the issue at all. Okay. That makes a lot of sense. So, and we're in an era where everybody is marketing online
all the time,
and
it's exhausting.
You really stand out.
Yeah.
Exhausting. So what is the difference between brands that thrive and then those that just get lost in the scroll?
Well, the first difference, which is going to sound like a cop-out, but it's the truth, people that stick with it and get better. I'm not just a be consistent person. Like, you have to be consistent, but you have to iterate. If you just are consistently bad, it's not going to help you.
There was that thing years ago. I just remember hearing this somewhere about, sorry to interrupt in the middle of your answer there, but it just pinged this into, video. Video became a thing. Like, you've got to get on video. You've got to get on video. And I just remember, I don't know where I watched it, was like, and there are some people you probably shouldn't get on video.
No,
I don't mean that horribly,
100%.
but I think even like listening or watching this, we've all seen moments where we're like, that didn't help your business.
No. Well, and what I think people don't understand, especially in the personal branding world, every time someone sees you, they are making a mental association. This is good. This is bad. This is interesting. This isn't. This, I like this. I don't like this. They're not not consciously. They're just putting people in these categories. So you are training them to put you in the category of ignore. The more you do the bad junk.
Wow.
With that said, you have to be bad first to be good, right? So like, you have to learn. Number one, I think the best thing to do is pay attention to what stops you, what you are interested in, what you're drawn to. It's not always the same. You do have to be careful here. It's not always the same as your people. So just because you like it doesn't mean they will.
Okay.
But you can probably find trends, and I recommend you do this like across the board. Like if you're in health and wellness, like do it for like what you stop scrolling in politics or news or business, like these other areas where you're just looking at the structure of the content. What made me stop here? Okay. And this is not related to what I do. It's maybe I'm a doctor, but this is political, but I still stopped. Okay. What was it that made me stop?
That's interesting.
It's probably because you agreed with it. It was a hook that you agreed with. Or maybe it was a hook you like strongly disagreed with. And you were like, what the heck? I'm going to check this out, right?
Read more.
What are they saying, right? Yeah. Like I'm going to disagree with this and leave my comments. But maybe it was just a really strange question at the beginning. And you were like, where are they going with this? Like, I don't understand. So understanding why you stop is really going to teach you how people are thinking when they're on the app. We can't forget that people are on the app for entertainment or to be validated or to just be mindless. And so if like some of our doctors, they would go like heavy in the medical stuff, which is great. Like it shows you're, a professional who knows what they're talking about, but also like it's boring. And like,
did you say that to clients? Like, quite frankly, this is boring.
Sometimes like I would be like, this isn't the most interesting because it's interesting to other doctors.
Sure.
But your client isn't other doctors.
That's not your target market.
And so if it was, then I'd be like, go. Like, I don't have to like it because I'm not another doctor and that's fine. But like, if you're just like sharing a weight loss program, this is a little much.
Probably don't be that medical about it.
No.
Yeah.
So I think you have to understand like what keeps people interested, what makes them want to stop. And so that's number one. Number two is you have to go back and evaluate. Like what you think is great might not be what the market thinks is great. And the only way to know it is creating enough content to have data. The market will tell you what they want. Like they don't lie. And so what you need to do is say, okay, well, I did 50 posts. These 10 did well. I didn't think those would do well. Very often the things we think will do well don't. And things that we are like super casual about or like not even thinking about do like amazing. And you're like, what the heck? I just spent like 2 hours on this video and now this one that I spent 7 seconds on and my hair is a mess. Like does the best. It's funny. Like with ads, it is crazy how you'll do like an ad setup where it's like nice and pretty and everything's great and everything's perfect. And then like the one ad where you're like selfie, like walking down the street and your hair is blowing and it looks terrible is like the ad that has the lowest cost per lead. Yeah, because it got people to stop. It got them to pay attention. And so you have to look at your data. You have to understand. And then you have to be willing to get better. You have to look at it and say, okay, I think this worked because of this. And then you go over here and you try it. Okay, let's recreate that. Let's do that again. Let's do that same style. See if that works. Like, how can we make this, how can we do this again to see what really made the impact? If you can do that for 6-7 months, you'll become really skilled at creating content. Beautiful. Combined with knowing what your people want, what their headache is, what the painkiller is, and then you've got a really sweet deal that then when you add some ad dollars behind it, because all those people that are going viral, they're spending money.
That's what they're doing. Let's talk about that for a moment. Let's talk about ads a little bit. Yeah. So at what point do you, what's the question I want to ask you here? It's not one I've prepared earlier. And actually, before I ask you this, I just want to reiterate what you just said. I love that practicality of look at what has you stop scrolling.
Yes. Yeah.
So, and lots of things flew through my head then, Danielle, as you said it, like headline, like you said, an interesting question. Yep. Was it a video, an
familiar face
video, familiar face? Or did they use a really strange picture that you're like, what was that about? Yeah. Or something you disagreed with. What was it? And to really, like, that's such a practical tip to actually look, because let's face it, you're probably scrolling, or a lot of people are scrolling. So
we're all scrolling.
Don't lie. You're
scrolling.
You're
I'm
scrolling
too. It's fine.
At times you probably don't want to be scrolling.
I mean, it's like, I know I shouldn't, but like, whatever.
Yeah, but there you go. And then what makes you actually stop? Like, what stops that scroll? That's such a practical question. Really,
and you'll find, I promise you, it'll fall into these categories: familiarity, things that you strongly identify as and agree with. So that's where all the political stuff is. And when they talk about algorithms in politics, I don't think people understand how significant that is. Like, when you start paying attention to one side, it will feed you the most extreme on that side to see how deep you'll go, and then curate your algorithm based on that. So you'll see it, because you are always looking for things that validate your opinions, always. And you always want to be mad at things that don't. And so whatever side you're on, it is so specifically curated. Like, it doesn't matter. It's so curated. And the only time you'll see something antagonistic to what you believe is someone like reacting badly to that thing. So it'll be like the most extreme clip, and then it'll be like someone who agrees with you reacting to that clip.
Okay, got it.
Because it's all curated that way.
Wow.
They want you to stay on the platform. That's the goal of every social media platform. And so they're constantly saying, what will keep this person here? And it will always be like outrage, and then someone who like agrees with you, and you're always going to want to find that common identity. So those are things that always work. Familiarity always works. Things that are really trending, like news, like I like love the Real Housewives of Beverly Hills. Like, these people that I'm like so invested in, Kyle and Mauricio. I don't know why you're not getting back together. Please do. But like I will want to see like what's going. So anyone who's talking about that, I will probably stop, because it's this specific interest. Again, the algorithm's curated. I've stopped several times. It's always going to show me those. Okay. Because it's like, oh, Danielle likes this.
And that's like when you buy something, isn't it? If you purchase something, oh my gosh, your feed is going to be full.
Or even if you talk about it. Yeah. If you're at an event and your phone's nearby and you talk about buying that floor, I just bought this stuff. It's so good because of an ad, because they kept hitting me and I was like, oh my gosh, I'm buying it. And it was so good. But now that we talked about it, you're going to see ads for it. Okay. And we weren't on our phones.
Okay. This is a live test. This is actually going to happen.
Floor, vanilla skin, and heavy cream is what I'm wearing. She said she liked it when I came in.
You smelled amazing when you came in. I was like,
so
what
good,
is
y'all.
that?
It's totally
there you
worth
go.
It. But
not sponsoring this current episode.
Not sponsored. I should be, but it's not.
She wears it well.
But now it'll be on your phone.
That's so incredible.
If your phone's nearby, I don't know.
That's so incredible. Yeah. It is nearby. Wow. So. Okay. So we stopped a moment ago. I said ads. Let's talk about ads. Is there anything? I'm just going to put that to you as a question. I hadn't prepared this one earlier, but let's talk about ads. What would you like to say about that to anybody? Because it's such a big thing for people. When do I start to spend dollars? How many dollars do I spend? What do I spend dollars on? All of that kind of stuff. Just ads. There you go. Discuss.
People like to either make it the be all end all or demonize ads. So they're going to be like, you're not running a real business if you don't run ads. Or they're like, you should never have to run ads. You should just always organically go viral. Like the best businesses in the world all run ads, all of them. Like I don't know a single person who's running a $10 million company or above who's not running ads. Now, how you do them, why you do them, that's all very specific to your goals, your business model, if you launch, if you don't launch. But at a minimum, like if you can run ads at the beginning, run them. Like I always recommend run branding ads, which are literally just ads where you're pushing your content out to people. It's so cheap. You could spend like $500 a month and get thousands of new people watching your content, which just builds that like everywhereness that everyone's seeing you all the time, and which creates interest, which gets people, invested. So running ads as soon as you can, even on a small budget, just for visibility is great. And list building ads, I always recommend, because I'm an email marketing girl. My copywriting roots are deep, but I think those are two places to always start. They're usually inexpensive depending on your industry and what you do. You can get a lot out of just a little bit of money. And then I think as big as you can go, like as much as you can do, like there's some limitations if you're in a local business. You can certainly kind of outspend your market if you're in a small town. But for the most part, if you can run ads from day one, do it. And many businesses do. Like I think in the online world, we forget how like regular world operates. Like if you were to like open a gym in your city, you would run ads from day one because like that's how you get in front of the right people in your city. And so I don't know why we've sort of made this weird thing.
Yeah, that's interesting, isn't it?
But I will tell you, all these people who come out of nowhere, they have 10 different accounts set up. They're all putting out the same content so that you see them everywhere. And then they're boosting them or running brand view ads. Like they're all running stuff. They don't just come out of nowhere.
No, right.
They also have teams of like 20 people. They spend a couple $1 million on their team. And so,
and something you said right at the beginning, they also have a strategy.
Yeah. I think they do.
We're guessing they do.
I assume. Yes. It appears to be so for most of the big names that seem to come out of nowhere. It's like they decide, okay, next up, I'm going to build my personal brand. They hire a full team, usually costs $1 million or $2 a year. And then they create content. They have someone, this is the other thing people don't love. They have people like, I want to be like Alex Hormozy or Gary Vee. I was like, okay, they spend multiple millions a year. 2 to 3 million, 4 million, I think is what Gary Vee spends. I forget. He said it in a video. And then they let people follow them around with video cameras all day. So nobody wants to do it. You don't even want to sit down and make me 4 videos.
Yes.
You're like, they literally have people following them all day long with video cameras. So that when they have a conversation or when they do a Zoom call, that's all recorded. Gary Vee has people line up outside his office and they'll come ask questions and he'll record it the whole day. So like it's a commitment.
Yes.
It's definitely, but yeah, I think run ads as soon as you can.
Okay. Got it. You heard it here. You heard it here.
I don't know why you wouldn't. If you can do it and do it as big as you can.
Okay.
Yes.
Let's talk about something else.
Okay.
We've talked about this before and I know you don't love being on camera. It's not
my favorite. I'm a writer
thing in the world. Yeah. So email marketing girl at heart. Copywriting runs deep. I've witnessed your amazing copywriting. It is phenomenal. Really phenomenal. You
should get on my email list. It's good.
Yes. Oh, do you want to tell people how they do that? I mean, there is a question here. How do people find
can we put the link in? Because I don't have a fancy link, which is like rule number 1 of podcast guesting. You should have a link, but I don't.
But I love that about you because we're being maverick here. We're just breaking rules. So
I break them
should
all
have, but don't have. So I don't know. How do people find you, Danielle?
Instagram's great. Danielle C Marketing. LinkedIn's great. Danielle Cevallos. But my name's hard because my husband.
Oh, let's spell it. Let's just spell it.
Cevallos.
Okay. And just say the whole thing again.
Cevallos. Yes. Danielle Cevallos.
Great.
My maiden name was Barnett. It was a lot easier.
You said it well, though.
But I'll take it. Take it for the husband.
And let's just, I've got a feeling somebody was writing that down. We'll stick the links on here as well. But let's just do the Instagram handle one more time.
Danielle C Marketing.
Danielle C, and it's DanielLe.
Good job.
Okay, Danielle Marketing. Okay.
You could work at Starbucks and do a lot better.
Thank you. And I think
they always put Daniel.
Are you taking me now to Starbucks? I am.
Right? Yes.
Thanks.
You're going. Please,
Thanks,
somebody
Danielle.
teach somebody how to do. They always put Daniel on my cup. I'm like, Danielle's a pretty common name.
Okay. Oh my gosh. And I think I missed out your middle letter then. Danielle
C.
Danielle C. Marketing.
Yeah.
Okay, great.
Yeah.
I'm laughing now because have you ever watched the Starbucks YouTube videos where they're spelling Irish names? That's an interesting one.
I have just seen like the meme ones where they're like just spelling everything wrong
just Google
on purpose. Like John will be like some random thing. Yeah.
And also Spartacus. Have you ever seen that one? That was a very funny video. So somebody, that stops Spartacus, and then of course they're like, and coffee or latte for Spartacus.
But
and
that's part of the strategy.
It's fun.
Because what happens when you get your name spelled so wrong? What do you do with it?
You put it up.
Instagram it.
You put it up. The Spartacus one was funny because they gave it literally, here's latte for Spartacus, and literally somebody stood up and went, I am Spartacus. And then the whole Starbucks cafe also did that. It was very funny.
There you go.
Anyway,
there you go.
Who knew we were going to talk about Starbucks on this?
It's a likely probability
said,
with me here.
You don't love being on camera, so I love how we totally avoided this question. That was good.
I can't yeah.
Are you in marketing? That was good.
I'm skilled, yeah.
Now, recently, despite the fact it's not your favourite thing to do, you did commit to showing up live every single day.
I didn't do it.
You didn't do it. You did a lot of them. I
did a lot. I did a lot.
They were great. I was like, yes, Danielle. I was cheering you on.
Here's the deal.
Yeah.
It's a great strategy. I don't like to I feel like you have to look a certain way. And some days I don't look that way.
Oh, do you have to look a certain way?
I want my hair done. Like I want like makeup on, so I did what I am doing more of. What I will say is what it did for me was I did do it every day for a while. Mm-hmm. And then I was like,
you did. I saw you. I was like, go Danielle.
Nonsense. And what it has done is I was like, okay, what are the things that I do like doing that I feel like I can do casually? And so I started doing more stories on Instagram, which then goes on Facebook.
Yes.
Which I wasn't doing at all anywhere. So I do those really consistently now.
Beautiful.
I've started doing more videos, and I usually will do like one live in-depth training now a week, which is where I have landed the plane.
That's great. You found what works for you. And you found, back to what you were talking about earlier, and I've forgotten the word you used, but I'm thinking rhythm. It's like consistency. We talked about consistency a little bit.
Yes. Yeah. And for me, that's great. But I write more. So like I send more emails, like, I send an email every day almost.
Yes.
I write big long posts on LinkedIn and Facebook.
I referred you to a client recently, and she was like, now she's writing to me or leaving me a little voice. Oh my gosh, now I got an email from Danielle. It's really good how she's doing this. Like she's literally watching what you're doing, and I'm getting little blow by blow accounts. I'm also getting your emails in my inbox, of course, so I know what she's talking about.
Well, it's good. I just did a whole class. It's funny. I did this whole conversion copywriting class for these members in one of our memberships. And so it was like 5 hours. It was super in-depth, super long. And they were all like, I will never look at your emails the same again. I'm like, I know. It's a strategy, y'all.
Yes.
I'm using a strategy.
Yes.
They're like, I can't believe it. I'm like, did you think I just was like making stuff up all the time?
They just think you're brilliant, Danielle. Don't blow it.
Thank you. That's very sweet. But like, I was like, no, it's just... There's a method to the madness.
Oh my gosh, I love that you open the doors up, like, okay, come peek behind the scenes. And now they're like, what? Okay. Those that you do really... I'm not blowing smoke here, but you do phenomenal trainings. I mean, I've been on a few of those shorter trainings.
Like
5 hours, but sprints over 4 or 5 sessions. And
that's what I
you
love.
really do go deep, and they're very, very, very practical. That's what I really love. You can actually, sometimes you go on sessions like that, and there's so much. A bit like your medical doctors you were talking about. There's kind of so much technical stuff that you can't access.
Nobody has time for that.
No, yours are, let's get in there. You actually do it during the sessions, usually like, let's just do this, write your email or
I feel like time is really disrespected in our world. And so if you're going to pay money and give me 4 hours of your life, like I don't want it to be just a fun time that we hung out where I just told you a couple things you probably could have Googled.
Yes.
So I'm very crazy about that. Like I want it to feel like your brain's going to explode because it was so much good stuff that you can go do.
Yes, good stuff that you really can access. Yes. And as you said, you can go and do. It's not
goal.
Too much good stuff that you're like, oh my gosh, now I feel too full.
Well, and it's funny because when you think about it, marketing has a million pieces. It's like this art and this science, and it's a really good marketer understands culture and understands people in a way that most people who are experts don't. You're an expert at your thing. Like that's what you're good at, and that's where you kind of live. And so you don't really think about the culture and the people and the mindset of where they are. So a really good marketer understands that. And that takes a really long time to develop a mindset like that. And so it's a lot to teach. Like every time I sit down to teach something, I think like, gosh, this is like layers. Like, cause I think, okay, why do I do this? How do I do this? What's this thing? And it's like years of just experience that you're like, well, this is why I do it. But like, there's 18 layers behind that. And then I'm like, but here's the exceptions. And sometimes I'm like, don't do what I do because I know the rules I'm breaking and you don't know them yet. So you can't break them yet. So like, it's kind of a weird thing.
Do you ever sit down to write a training or create a training like that and go, oh, hang on, I thought this was just going to be, let's do a simple training on X. And
and then I have to write it and then I like cut out half of it because it's too much.
Yes.
It's like, this is good. People are going to
strip
quit
it
after
down
like
to
an
the
hour.
simplest format that people can actually take and do.
Which I have a master's in education. So
you do? Yes. That's your background.
Yeah, I was a teacher for 12 years.
Okay, look, can you give us any top tips? I wrote a keynote. I was doing a keynote talk on Friday and yes, you say. I said, I will do the keynote.
That's amazing. What a cool opportunity.
It was an amazing, amazing opportunity. And I really, really loved doing it. But it's this thing of now I'm tapping into your Masters of Education because it's like, yes, I will do the keynote. And I know I'm not on my own here. I know there are people listening and watching this right now, Danielle, who are like, I said yes to the thing or writing the course or doing the thing.
Always do.
And oh my gosh, true. Okay.
Yeah.
Always say yes. Yeah. Okay. You look at yours and
always say yes. And then you figure it out later.
And then you figure out, build a plane as you're flying. It's great. It hasn't got a wing. It will do.
Everything I've ever built has been built. It's like, sure, I can do that. And I'm like, what does that mean?
How do I do that? Google? Or is
I remember the first time I ever wrote anything for anyone, it was like some random keto thing. And this was way before keto was cool. Like this was not a thing. Yes. And I was like, what is keto?
That's so funny.
I had no idea.
I love that you're doing the typing thing with your fingers there. If you're not watching this and you're listening to this.
I'm sorry. I'm pretending to Google.
She's doing the keyboard thing. Or my mum, who is 89 years old, likes to say, I'm going to Google it up.
I love Googling it up.
Google it up.
I say Google it up. I say go Google that. No,
go Google that. Yeah, no, Google it up. I Googled it up, Kate. And I was like, okay, good. That's great.
My aunt used to call Facebook Spacebook.
Oh, I love that. It kind of is, isn't it? You do get spaced out. It's true.
It's probably accurate.
Masters of Education. Yes. Okay, so this keynote thing and okay, now I've got all these ideas. Oh my gosh. And like you said, you write it all out and then you cut half of it out.
Yeah.
Do you have any top tips? I didn't know we were going to talk about this, but for those out there, tons of content, want to create something, and then you get into it and you're like, oh my gosh, I have a million things. Like, what are the top
there's a couple of things. Usually you can cut out half. And one of the things that how I learned this, my master's is in teaching kids with learning disabilities. So I taught high school. So by that point they were like very shut down. And it is so interesting. Like you would give them a passage that had 6 paragraphs on it, and they would immediately be like, no, put their head down, not do it. You take the same passage and you cut it in small chunks, and it just looks like three sentences on a paper, and they'll read the whole thing. Wow. It's because they immediately saw something that felt too hard and they just didn't do it, even though they could do it. Wow. And so what we would do is we would make these smaller chunks, and that's how we would get through stuff. And so if you imagine kind of the human brain at an event or, in a session that you're teaching, if you just, it's all up on the PowerPoint, or they're looking at this workbook that's like 70 pages, it's like an immediate like, ugh, I can't do this. This is too much. Like, and then they're going to put it off and never. That's why people don't finish courses. Like, there's so much in them, and they're like, it's like an immediate. Even oh my gosh, it's not like an intelligence thing. It's like I don't have time. Like this is so mentally overwhelming. Yes, and so that's one thing I would say. Like, you really have to think about what are the core things, and typically they're not trying to be the expert you are, right? Like they're not, most people I'm teaching are not trying to become marketers, like as a career. They're just like, I'm a business owner. I just got to know the basics to like create the content. So like, I don't need them to know everything I know. I need them to know these handful of things. If you know these handful of things, you'll be good at it. And so you have to kind of take your own hat off and say, what are the things this person actually needs to be successful in their role?
Oh, that's a good
Because their role is not my role. And as experts, we want to like, give them everything we have, but they don't need it. Like, I just need my doctor to give me like, what do I eat? I don't need to know like everything he knows from medical school.
Yes. No, please don't give me everything you know from medical school.
So like if I've got some issue and the root cause is like you're celiac and you need to cut this out. Like, I just need to know what that means for me. I don't need to know like all the science behind it. Okay. Like if I want to research it, great. But like, it's not important for me to now live. Right. Okay. So you want to think about those things. And then I think too, it's just thinking about how to deliver it in a way that feels really palatable. So like can you tell stories? Like, is the lesson able to be distilled in a story? Because we obviously always will go back to story. What current things can you anchor it in so that they can always make a connection and a reference? Like y'all will remember the Real Housewives thing because I said that I always want to see that. Yeah. So like, it's how can you find what's already in their world and anchor it to that, and then it will be easier for them to remember. So
beautiful.
I used to use like rap lyrics.
Did you? Yes. Did you really? Yeah. I didn't know that.
And I used to try to be really cool and say like teenage slang stuff, which they thought was so cringy, and it was, but it made them remember. Oh, that's so cool. So,
you were that cool teacher that.
Well, I tried. I don't know if they would say I was really so cool, but I tried.
I did once meet an English teacher. He actually became a really good friend, somebody in England when I was living back in London, and he used to teach English through swear words. And he'd write.
I didn't do that. I don't really curse though.
He'd write swear words up on the board before the kids would come in. This is inner city London, like 15, 16-year-olds. And he'd just have them all written up on the board, which is not how they were used to walking in a classroom. That was a disruption right then and there. And then he'd actually have them read things out and put them in sentences. And they'd be like, oh, so you can't say that. Like, that's crazy.
Well, I used to teach Romeo and Juliet, and I would tell them it was about sex, gangs, and drugs.
So great. So. That's so great. And I love that you don't swear, by the way.
I don't really swear. I tried when I was young. It just didn't fit. I don't know.
Like, that's
I
not
just
me.
couldn't. In my mind, it was like,
it's not.
I would say the word and I'd be like,
it's not actually part of your personal brand, Danielle.
It's definitely not. Okay, if you hear me cursing, something is really wrong. Somebody's in big trouble.
Oh, okay. Amazing. All right. What else have I got written down here in terms of questions? Oh, so you said, I love that we talked about you going live and you went, actually, I didn't finish that. But
tell me. I'm sorry. Did I cut
off
the
question? No, it's okay. I'm going to the next question now that I had on that.
I'm a New Yorker talker.
No, it's great. I love well, look, we're on a podcast. That's true. That is definitely part
right
of this brand.
Thank you. Yes.
Please talk. Because if you don't talk, then that would be really weird.
That could be a brand.
Even weirder if you're watching, if people
There's
are
that girl who does her podcast. She's super awkward. She interviews these celebrities and she just sometimes sits there and like stares at them. Oh, I can't remember her name.
Oh my gosh.
So funny and so good. And it's totally part of her brand. And I love it.
That's so funny.
She like interviewed Drake and.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's wild. I was going to say.
Bobby somebody.
If people were listening to this video, I know we're videoing it, but if they're just listening to this, and some people are just listening to this on audio, and then you and I just stopped.
It'd be so weird.
You'd be like, what happened to my phone? Did it run out of battery? I don't know. Something happened. So we'll carry on
talking.
Going.
We'll keep talking.
So, and I know you said, you didn't finish like the whole going live every day, but what I really did hear is you landed on what really worked for you. What was your rhythm? What was your pattern? And what was consistent for you? Yeah. And so I'm sure even within that consistent pattern, there are probably days, I'm imagining, that you don't want to go live.
There are days I never want to do anything.
Okay, yes. Welcome to the human race.
There are so many days, like I would call myself a pretty good content creator. And there are so many days where I sit there and I'm like, right? What am I going to say? Like, you just feel like you've said everything, or like you're just not in the mood. There's 8 million things to do and you have to like be profound on the internet.
And your hair has to look right. And not have something in your teeth or whatever.
I just like filter it up and hope for the best.
What do you? That's so funny. That bit of spinach. Oh no, in my teeth.
I mean, that's why I chose stories instead, because I was like, on stories, it's going to disappear in 24 hours. So I could just look better tomorrow.
That's a good strategy.
And if you just are diehard, then you get to see me looking rough.
That's a good strategy. And then it's gone. And then it's gone.
24 hours.
On those days when the resistance is loud, really loud, what did you tell yourself? I mean, how did you get yourself
to stop being a baby and just do it?
Is that what
not
happens?
a real problem. I'm serious.
Okay, we're going to hang on. Lift a moment. We're going to lift up a lid inside Danielle's brain now. Okay, literally, this is inside Danielle's brain. Okay, you're hearing it here for the first time. So, inside your brain, what did you tell yourself? You literally
like, stop being a baby. This is not a real problem.
Okay.
Because I did 75 Hard twice, which if you don't know what 75 Hard is, go listen. There's a podcast about it. You go listen to it. Andy Frisella created it. And the whole thing is, it's not like a weight loss program. It's designed to be a mental toughness thing.
This is physical exercise and food and
it is. You follow a diet. You do 2 workouts a day. One of them has to be outside. You drink a gallon of water. No sweets. Like you can't cheat at all, or you start back over day 1. There's all these things. You have to read 10 pages a day. It's like these. Nothing is hard, but it's like 2 45-minute workouts a day. Okay. Like I run multiple companies. Like it's not easy, and the whole thing is that we basically live in this life, this world that we're like, everything's so hard, I can't do it, I have all these excuses. And when you get through these 75 days, you realize like nothing is as hard as we think it is, and you can make the time if you want to. Like I completed it twice without any problems. I didn't have to start over once. And I did my 2 45-minute workouts. So now when I'm not doing it and I'm like, oh, I don't want to go to the gym, I'm like, suck it up. Like you can go. Like you were doing 45 minutes twice a day. Like you can do this one, 30-minute workout at the gym. And so what it taught me was that 90% of the time where we're just making excuses, it is really just our little, he calls it, see, I'm going to curse now. He calls it the bitch voice. Oh. And he's like, are you going to listen to that all the time? That's why nobody accomplishes anything. Okay. And so sometimes I will say, is that what that is in your head?
Oh my gosh.
And,
that's so good.
And it's just like, there is a world, like I think all the time, like we live in a world where social media, like if I want to make a sale, I send an email. Like people used to have to like get in cars and like go to buildings and knock on doors and do hundreds of cold calls. And I have to write one email. Like it is insane the things that we think are real problems. Like my husband travels all over the world and does missions work. And there are people who would die to have the problem that I have, that I can't post this post on social media. Yes. They are living in situations we can't even remotely comprehend. Wow. And I'm sitting here like, oh my gosh, writing this Facebook post is hard. Right. Like that is not hard. Right. And so I just say that to myself. I'm like, you're being a baby. This is ridiculous. This is not a real problem. Okay. There are real problems in the world. This is not one of them. This is a gift that you get to put something out in the world and people will read it and care. This is a gift that you were born in this time and you can run a business on the internet with your leggings on at home with your dogs curled up. Like who are you to complain about posting a Facebook post? Wow. It's insane. Yes. So that's really what I tell myself. Okay. And then I'm like, amazing. Suck it up.
Suck it up and just do it.
Write
just
the freaking post.
Do it. Just
and also like not everything has to be profound all the time. Like some days you're just going to be all right.
Be you and just show up. I remember there's that saying, somebody used to say it to me, you at 50%. Yeah,
like it's you and sometimes up. I'm it's like, okay. You know what, my 50% is probably better than a lot of people's 100, so I'm fine. Yeah, I'm fine. In the content world, in a lot of worlds, it's
exactly.
Not,
I have another friend that's always like, be a C student, which has been a learning for me. I'm like, what does that mean? I don't know. Like, I want to go for the A or whatever. But
the thing is, you can't really get better at something like this with just thinking about it.
No, it's so true.
And so you have to put out. And it's so funny. Sometimes the things that I just throw up are the things that people love.
Which is what you were saying earlier.
I just spent 4 hours writing this other thing and this thing that took me 6 seconds.
Yes. Like and you did your makeup for those other ones. And you got all ready and you planned your outfit. And this one you were like, oh, I'm leaving the door. I will have this 2-second conversation. And there you go. That's the thing.
Yeah. So just tell yourself, stop being a baby.
Oh,
stop
my
being
gosh.
A baby.
Okay. So let's talk about conviction.
Yeah.
So you have spoken about the power of conviction in branding and messaging. What does that mean in practice? Yeah. And how can people tap into that in their own business?
Okay, there's 2 books I'm going to recommend. So you had Kelly Rich on. Yes. I don't know if it's going to be before or after me, but she wrote a book called Conviction Marketing, which really outlines sort of the philosophy. And then a friend of mine, Veronica, wrote a book called Identity Marketing. And I feel like there's this really sweet marriage between the two where when you share real convictions, not just made up stupid stuff you're trying to get clickbait, stuff from, but like real convictions of yours. People want to find common identities, and when convictions are common identifiers, right? So when, politically, like whatever your conviction is, it's an identity. You are putting yourself in a group. And so when you speak up about those convictions, everybody who's in that group is like, yes. And everybody who's not is like, no. And it's a really like identifying thing. And so when you are clear about your convictions, you attract the people who really wholeheartedly agree with what you agree with. You also attract people who don't, and they will gladly tell you on the internet.
Okay.
Over and over again. So you have to have a little bit of a tough skin because people like to share their opinions even when you don't ask for them. But the thing that I always think about is like at the end of your life, you don't want to say like, I built this huge thing, but it's not who I really was. It's not what I really believed. And like, we live in a world where we can build an impact and legacy. Like, again, from our hotel couch.
I know, in this bedroom.
With our internet.
Studio,
like,
sorry.
we can get these messages out to the world. Like, my husband's he does missions, and, you know, 100 years ago, people would like sell everything they own, get on a boat, and like go, and like they would bring caskets back, you know, like that's how they went. They didn't have the opportunity to just post something one time on the internet and get this message out to the world. And so when you share your convictions, and it's really thoughtful in terms of like the legacy you're building, it's more, you're building a brand that's not about you anymore. It's more about the impact you make, which I think makes people feel a lot more confident in the brand they're building, because it feels really vain to like post a picture of you all the time. And like, it feels weird. But when you have this really deep set of convictions that you're making a change, you're pushing people to have a specific impact based on what you do, then it's not about you anymore. It's not vain. It's not your own glory you're seeking. It's you have this greater good in mind, which I think is really important.
Yes, I really, really hear that. So if there was one, like the greater good in mind, and I'm thinking back to, oh my gosh, I really don't want to press go live on this button today, or write the post or post the thing that we were talking about, and you were like, suck it up, do it anyway. What's the greater good, Danielle, for you? For
me, there's a couple of, I would say there's a few things. Number one, I feel like if I can equip people who have life-changing messages to get that out in the world, then that's me not just getting my message out, that's me like multiplying. So
beautiful.
If I can work with 100 of you, then like that's 100x the impact I could ever make with my own voice. So I feel like giving real thought leaders and experts and people trying to make a change in the world the skills to do that is really a huge motivator for me. And everything I do, I'm a Christian, everything I do is for the glory of God. And I think that as a Christian woman who is ambitious and likes to work, that's not a commonly seen thing. You know, you're taught like really young, like be a wife and a mom. And I'm so thankful for those roles in my life. I love my family. I love my husband. I'm so blessed to have played those roles, and I love being a mom. But you know, that's a period of time. My girls are grown now. And so that was a short period of time. And now there's this whole other season of life where I am still a wife and a mom, but like, it's not the only thing I am. And so for me, I always think about like the next generation of young women who are wanting to live faithfully as followers of Jesus in a world that tells them like, this is what it means to be a woman, and a church that tells them this is what it means to be a woman. Like, I want them to see like you can faithfully obey God and be a godly woman who loves and serves the Lord, and you can pursue excellence in a career, and both of those things can exist together. So for me, that's like the personal kind of takeaway. And then I hope everybody who works with me would see the love of Jesus and be inspired and love and know his love. So that's those are my personal ones. But then professionally, it's like, get more people the tools.
Yeah, so. I love that. And I love that you started with that one too, that actually the people who have a message to share, you know, just like you were speaking about when you were designing your trainings, people who are coming to those trainings generally aren't wanting to become marketers. So you're disseminating what's useful to them that they can then go away and take that and use that to bring their message to the world.
Yeah. And I stopped taking certain clients because of that. Because I realized quickly, like you can build a marketing agency and be like, we're doing social media. Who needs it? And you'll get all these people.
I'm sure. A million people.
And there are a few people that we worked with where I just felt like, this is not a message I want to put out in the world. And I'm helping them do that.
Wow.
I'm literally amplifying the voice. And I felt really convicted about that. And so we stopped.
Wow. Did you
or
just
didn't renew. There was one or two that we did not continue with. And then everybody else, I just kind of let run out. And then I was much more specific about who I would say yes to.
That's really beautiful. I'm curious about that. And then we're coming towards the end here, but I'm curious to just dive into that a little bit. I'll dig into that a little bit. Did you actually say no to people? Did people ever know why, or how did you?
I framed it like, I just don't know that we can do the the kind of work you're looking for. I just don't know that we have the capacity to fulfill kind of what you're looking for. Or there's one that I was like, we will not work with you.
Because of what they were doing. I'm not asking for detail, but
there was a lot. They were horrible to our team. And I felt like you had one message to the world and you were somebody else. And I'm not willing to be part of that. Like I felt like they were lying and I wasn't going to perpetuate that. And then others, I'll just say, hey, we're not taking on clients in this industry anymore.
Got it.
So hopefully not personal, except for the one where I was like, no, we're
just not working with you.
Yeah, no, it's totally you, not us. It's
That's
totally
amazing. That's amazing. And that, I mean, all of that ties really in with what you were sharing right at the beginning of this conversation too, about being certain about what what you stand for.
Yes.
Right back to that first question about brand and who you are and your messaging and being really, really clear about that. And I really hear the progression, because it's so easy as a business owner to be like, oh, you want to pay me? Okay.
Yeah. And I don't hate that at the beginning.
Sure.
I don't think you can get clear until you work with enough people.
I hear you.
And before this current role, when I had my business, I said yes to everything. Say yes to everything.
Yes.
And that's how I realized the thing I thought I wanted to do, I didn't. And then there was this whole other market that I didn't even really know existed that I would have never known I wanted to work in.
That's interesting.
And that kind of led me to where I am now. And then so with our agency, I just took on all these clients thinking like, oh, we can do social media better than they can, which was right. But then I got in and it was like, oh, okay, this is like a lot more than I thought.
Yes.
So now I need to like walk it back and see, okay, like who is, and then, I thought, oh, an industry, like that we'll choose a certain industry. And then I realized it really doesn't have to do with the industry. It has to do with the person. And that's not like a demographic. It's like a type of person. I can really only tell that on a sales call.
Yes.
And even then, sometimes people say they're that and then they're not that. Yes. And then you're like, for the love. So like, it's a process. So I do think there's a period where you kind of have to just
try it out
and learn and figure out what works for you. And then you get to a point where you're like, okay, I know.
I got it. Clear. And
it could change.
Yeah, I hear you. And that's also back to something else you were sharing earlier, is you can't just think through these things.
Yes.
It's actually about being in there and going, oh, this doesn't feel right. This does feel right. Oh, I want more of this, or I want none of that.
Yeah, business can't be done in theory. No part of it, especially in this market and the way it's changing and how things are moving with technology and AI. Like you have to you just have to do it. You have like the people who win are the people who like the idea to the actual like action, where you're doing the thing. Yeah. It's like super quick.
Yeah.
The longer things take, the harder it becomes, because there's always like something else. Like you're always like, okay, well now I need to fix this. Now I need to fix this. And you don't have feedback from the market. So you're doing all these things and it might not be anything
you might not get
that the
any
market cares
with
about,
it at all.
or they might not care. Yeah. So I'm like, you want to sell something, like put together a document, a Google Doc, go send 10 text messages to people you think might want it. See if they want it.
Yeah.
You don't need anything else.
Right.
Like just go do that and then see what happens.
Yes.
And like, that's how you learn.
Yeah.
So
you learn in real time, in real life, with real really feedback, and then you can adjust and you can tweak and you can move into the next thing. Beautiful. Amen. Okay. Amen. Is there anything I haven't asked you that you wished I had asked you, Danielle, or anything you'd like to be on a soapbox about, or any message you'd love to give out? I know. Yes, you have a soapbox.
I don't know. Get a strategy. That's really important. Soapboxes. That's a soapbox I will die on. The number of people spending thousands and thousands of dollars a month on 10 different agencies or part-time contractors, and there is no strategy. You are literally just throwing money out the window, like just throwing it out. Like book a strategy day, map out a strategy. It's worth the $4,000 or $5,000 and it will probably save you $100,000. So that's a soapbox I would definitely get on. Build an email list. Anyone who tells you email is dead is completely lying. And I will show you my stats.
Okay. You heard it here.
Yeah, they're good and they make money. Yeah, I don't know. I have lots of soapboxes. Don't dumb yourself down to build a brand. You will regret it. It might work. it might work. And then you
Yes.
built a brand based on something that wasn't who you really were.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the worst thing you can do, because the problem is those viral strategies, sometimes they do work, but then you've built this audience that wants more of that, and you don't want to be
And it's
that.
actually not who you are.
No.
Yeah.
And so now you're stuck in that audience.
Yeah. Not fun.
Not good.
Not fun at all.
Don't do that.
So we talked earlier about how people could find you
Yeah.
in terms of Instagram. Is there anything else, anywhere else people should go to
I
find you?
love LinkedIn.
Okay,
Which is not that
let's
sexy,
talk about LinkedIn.
unless you like making money, and then it's very sexy.
We could make it very sexy if you start talking about making money.
LinkedIn's just my name. I love LinkedIn. You could be a little smarter over there.
Okay, great. So follow Danielle. She posts some great stuff on LinkedIn. I can testify to that. It's true.
It's a little different. It's a little different vibe, but I do like it.
And that's just your name.
Yep.
Danielle.
Yep. Yeah.
And then Cevallous. Danielle Danielle.
Starbucks is
we
waiting
got
for
it.
you.
No, don't say that. I'm not going to work at Starbucks.
You could own it.
I could own a Starbucks.
Well, I don't think you can.
I'll just write
I don't think it's a
Spartacus on every
franchise.
cup, right? That's how that'll work.
I would write some other things
And
on
not Daniel,
cups.
would you? But no curse words, right?
No curses.
No curse words. No.
Nothing dirty.
Okay.
I would just write everybody's name. Just totally wrong.
Just totally
Yeah.
right.
Like I would write K letter number 8.
Number 8.
Yeah.
Okay, got it. That's
Just for
funny.
fun.
Okay.
Just to
You'd
keep
have
it
a great
spicy.
time. Maybe Starbucks is waiting. But no, I think for neither of us.
I always said if this didn't work out, but instead of going back to teaching, I'd probably go work at Starbucks. It's working out.
You
I
heard
think
it
we're
here,
okay.
but it is actually working out, Danielle.
It's
So
working out.
I figure you're going to keep doing this
think we're all right.
for
I
a
think we're
while.
good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. We have one final question.
Okay.
Now, this question I ask every single person who comes on this podcast.
Oh, no. Okay.
Yeah, it's okay.
No pressure.
No pressure at all, because it's your answer. So nobody else could ever answer like you answer. So it's your question too. There we go.
Yeah.
And some people like to close their eyes when I ask this, and some people don't. And some people like me to ask me to repeat it, and some people don't. So it's completely up to you. But I'm now going to ask you.
Intrigued. What is the question?
The final question
Okay.
of this podcast. And I'm so happy you're here. Thank you for being
Sounds
here.
fun. Yeah.
Yeah, it really does. It does.
This
feel
is the
fun.
first, I think, in-person podcast I've done.
What?
I've done like a lot on Zoom, but I think this is my first in person.
Gosh,
yeah.
wow. Well, welcome.
I know.
I've made a real commitment with this podcast that all of the interviews that I do
I know. I love it.
are going to
I
be
love it.
in person, because there's something, even in a makeshift, it's the studio, right? It's not
This is an epic studio. This is so good.
But even in, a makeshift studio like this,
I love it.
there's something magic that happens in person.
I agree.
And we've all had so much of Zoom. We do
I know.
so much
I'm
of
so
Zoom.
tired
And
of it.
my gosh.
I love it in person anything,
solo episodes fine. Of course, that'll be me with me. I guess that's in person. But
that
through
too.
the screen. But interviews in person.
Yeah. Love it.
And I love to travel, so I get to set up.
It's mixing all your worlds together.
It is
Perfect.
mixing all my
It's
worlds
perfect.
together. Okay, good. We've almost digressed now from the.
I know, I'm good at
the
that.
fun. I know it's good. So Danielle, you went live every day. No, I didn't actually. So we're not going to talk about that.
Just kidding.
That was one of the best answers I think I've had so far on podcast.
Sorry.
So good. Okay,
I cannot lie.
So. Dun. We haven't built this up too much, have we? Should we build it up a bit more?
I don't know. I'll tell you after you ask.
Final
if you built it up too
question,
much.
Danielle. Okay, this is the ritual question.
Okay.
So I call it the whisper of your soul. Actually, I've never
gosh.
told anybody that I call it that before.
Okay,
but it is
that
the whisper
sounds
of your
deep.
soul. Yeah.
All right.
Can be
let's
deep.
go.
Deep as far as you'd like to take it, whatever. So, Danielle, when everything else falls away,
Okay.
expectations, fear, resistance, what does your soul whisper is next?
Is next?
Yeah.
Oh gosh, I don't know.
Sometimes where people go, would you repeat the question? And you don't have to.
I felt really confident until you said the what's next part. I don't know. To be fair, I don't know that I can answer that. I think that I have spent a lot of my life waiting for what's next. From like when I was a little girl, and I feel like God has me in a place where I am just like okay with like what's here.
That's beautiful.
And I want to be really thankful for it. And so I have lots of like dreams and goals, but I'm like a 7 Enneagram, so like they come and go. Like I'm not really married to them. But I feel like it's not what's next. I just want to live my life where I feel like at the end of it, God will say like, well done, good and faithful servant. And I will feel just really like I lived how I was supposed to live. So I don't know that there's a what.
That's beautiful.
It's like a who I am.
Huh.
So
I love that.
I think you stumped me.
Thank you. No, I think you just gave a beautiful, beautiful answer. And I really heard, instead of what's next, it's what's now.
Yeah. Yeah. Here you go.
And you're living that fully.
Trying over here.
Danielle, thank you for being
thank you
here
so much. It was fun.
In your first ever in-person
My
podcast
first
interview.
ever
Wow, I
podcast
feel
in
super
this
honored.
incredible studio. That's so impressive.
Oh, thank you.
So, yeah.
Amazing. Well, thanks for being here. Thanks for being fun.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you for being so amazing at what
You're
you do.
welcome for keeping you off track as much as I could.
I love it. It's perfect. Okay.
If you need more.
Okay. Yeah, absolutely. All right. And something everybody listening to this podcast knows I say a lot is ... to be continued.
Okay. I love that. I use that all the time.
Do you?
I'm a big ... daughter.
Are they? Oh my gosh. Well,
it keeps people engaged.
I've never met a ... daughter before. There you go. Another one.
You'll never look at my emails again.
Okay.
They're all ...
Mm-hmm. Okay. Well, you heard it here. ...
Keeps
to be
people
continued.
Engaged. Keeps them paying attention. Good.
Danielle.
Yes.
Danielle. I nearly called you Danielle. Then thank you for being here.
Thanks for having me.
I really appreciate you.
Yeah.
See you soon.
All right.
Thanks for tuning in. I am so grateful we got to spend this time together. To instantly know about new episodes dropping, be sure to subscribe to The Kate Kenny Show #unfiltered on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you listen. And if you enjoyed this episode, do please leave a review, especially if you listen on Apple Podcasts. This will help more people access what's shared here. If you really loved this episode, take a screenshot on your phone and share it on social media. Tag me at @TheKateKenny and I'll be sure to reshare your post. Remember, when you dare to go unfiltered, everything changes. Thanks again for listening. Keep shining that bright light of yours into the world, and I'll see you next time.